Okay, you're live.
All right.
There are no attendees.
All right, great. Thank you.
So we're not expecting any more.
No, this is it.
So you guys were already here last time, right? We were here last time, yeah. That's correct.
So for those of you who don't know, Ben and Matt, this is Bill. Bill Brown.
You guys work together.
This is
He's my intern.
I think this is.
Bill Brown. Bill is the principal.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
So the handout that you have annotates what we talked about last time. It annotates where these certain elements are that we talked about. The materials are still up here. We can talk about anything that you want.
We're going to start at the front
I'm
door.
not really sure how to do this since two people are here. But I guess starting at the front, you know, this, again, this is the entry point coming around and the drop-off point. This whole area is your drop-off unit pavers. Flush granite curbing, some planter curbs, outdoor classroom and granite plinths. So all these dark things are granite plinths. This whole area inside here, along the building edge, back, anything that's covered in a canopy is larger stones, you know, something like this,
Oh, really? But bigger.
but much bigger. You know, the coloring is what you should be looking at, but we're thinking about 8 to 12 inch boulders with some larger
Can
ones.
they be used for either projectiles or thrown through the front windows?
They will be heavy.
No.
I mean, sure, if this was it,
Yeah, that'd be a problem.
but we're thinking much bigger. So if you know, if
Okay,
that's a 6 inch ruler, I mean, they're this big.
Okay. Yeah, we can, we don't, I don't, we, just give us the overview, sorry.
Well,
No, no,
I think
no,
that's an
no,
important
That's
factor.
not a
No, we'll
problem.
get to it. We'll get to it. Sorry.
So that's the entry point.
Mhm.
Okay, everything slopes off into this area, which again is decorative gravel, but it acts as stormwater retention area. So they'll naturally percolate and get out.
And well, those will be larger as well, so that they can't be on a projectile.
Yeah, we'll put this on.
Okay, so all along this edge, metal bollards, decorative stainless steel metal bollards, flagpole. And I believe that's it that you really need to know about in the front. You
And
know,
it's
we'll
helping
have-
understand, when does this come up, and I understand like some of the slope here, but this is all flat, this is slightly sloped, this is a wall, what's happening between here and here?
It's slightly sloped in the paving area, about a 1.5%, 1.75%, and then it starts to ease up a little bit to this point.
Ease up
At
meaning
that-
get more vertical, or ease up meaning?
Ease up as in less slope.
So
Oh, let's look.
you won't even feel
You won't even notice it.
all the way out.
At this point where all these darker dashed lines are, that's when it starts to grade out. You know, it depends on where it is, but you know, this is a 4-to-1 slope. Where you get to here, this is like a 5% slope along the walks. And it starts to ease in here. So closer lines mean more steep.
Yeah, and we passing all that water and then up that slope.
Yep, everything's coming directly into this low point here.
Yeah.
It'll infiltrate, and I believe Civil has the piping going somewhere, probably pipes to here and then out.
What's really nice about it is that when you're in that space, you're gonna have the slope of the land going up towards where the entrance is. So you're gonna feel protected right in that space, rather than be exposed to all the cars and buses.
Right.
coming in.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, and so what is, this is, you know, paved driveway, that's paved driveway, what's this? I know that's a
That's
slope.
all
but-
landscape. That's all
okay,
landscape,
so-
yep.
okay.
So would there be like trees or bushes in there? Something like that? Okay.
You know, when you say landscape, is it something that, this is Joe, by the way.
Oh, Joe. Hi, Joe. I'm Joe.
And Joe is head of the DPW, and so is this, I'm sorry, assistant head of the DPW.
I think you're getting to low maintenance. It's low maintenance,
Low
Yeah.
maintenance ground cover.
adapted, non-native, native plants. Everything you kind of see around here.
Mow it once a year, twice a year? every
Well,
week?
this is all, I believe this will be shrubs and stuff like that. You know, this will probably be a seed mix. That is a seed mix that you don't mow. This is a seed mix that you could mow. all
I
along
think
here.
generally what we're trying to do, and it's really up to what the committee feels, but we're trying to use native grasses, wildflowers, eliminate as much lawn mowing as we can. You know, like this slope that's along here where you see all those contours, it's down from where the circle is. We'd like to see that in wildflowers and meadowgrass. Some people don't like that look and they want to have it cut. So it's something that we need to have some input on, but, you know, this area, there may be some lawn in here that may need to be cut, but we're trying to limit it as much as possible.
So the other thing that maybe you can show us. So you remember on the community forum that we had the last time, the question that Olympia had.
Yeah.
About, it seems like it's, going to be this very precarious slope going from Webster down to the school. So maybe you could just map out what you think the pathway in, if you were coming on the top of Webster, would be to get into the front door.
Walking,
Walking.
Yeah, walking in driving.
while driving, you're coming up Webster.
Right.
You go straight in or around and park. wherever you need.
Essentially avoiding.
Yeah. This, walking, you're going to be coming up the existing slope, right? Crossing down and, or if you're coming up Front Street, come across, down, around.
And all of that's going to be 2%, or less than 2%.
It is,
No,
it's following the roadway grade.
Well, not up
No.
top, yeah, but I mean, what about from the road to the school?
From here.
This is 5%, this is
5%.
2%-ish. This is 3 up to 5,
Is it-
and this is
Yeah.
much steeper.
I
Okay,
said
so
on-
this is
on
the
call,
7
I
to
said
10.
5%.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're
5%
coming
less.
here and then they're going here, right? They're not doing this.
Nope.
Okay, they're not, obviously not doing that. So,
Correct.
okay. And then what is, so this is less steep than that.
It is,
Is it going,
Down.
it's going down,
It's
but
going down, I get that, right.
it's steep here, less
The-
steep on this side. So
Right.
it's about 7 to 8%, and it's about 6%.
okay. And then what's is there a wall here, or granite curbing here? What's just curb, okay. So this, oh, yeah, this smoothed into there, basically.
Mhm.
But I think what I said on the call was accurate. When I said we typically shoot for, somewhere less than 8%, right, if it's vehicular. And then it's going to be, right, 1 to 20, right, because that's an accessible pathway up to, right, the school building. So everything that we said on that call is correct.
And you think that matters?
Sooner or later, it will.
So I think it's important too to know that there's no retaining wall at the front of the school there. That's just sloped ground.
Right, yeah. That's
And-
okay, right.
And that was a change that we made very early on. We sloped that grade down so that you weren't looking at a retaining wall. The retaining wall that we do have on site is over there in the end.
There's
There's
one right
one
here,
there, and that's, the highest point of that is 4 feet.
4 feet.
Is that like where the backstop is?
Nope, the backstop's by Joe's foot.
The backstop is right here.
No, I'm sorry, the existing backstop. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Sorry.
existing backstop is right.
Right there. Okay.
And that's exactly where the
Bleachers.
bleachers are.
Okay.
And I think Olympia's house is like right up here.
Now here's her son's house is over here.
Yeah, so she's got that, it's like a steeper perspective.
Right.
But I think she's
Um,
saying.
I do have a question here. In terms of the existing fence, where is the existing fence now?
The existing fence is right here. You kind of see it? X.
Oh.
So if you remember, one of the questions was, are we taking down more trees?
Yeah, that's
right?
what I'm getting at.
So here's the existing fence that they were talking about.
Yep.
And here's where we got wider,
Yep.
but the tree line is here.
Okay.
So it's still at the base of those trees. Oh, that's a great idea, thank you. So the line with the X's below, that's the existing fence.
Yep.
What they show here with this fuzzy line below is the existing tree line.
Okay.
And you can see that we're not going into that steep part over there. The only place that we're even coming close is over here.
Okay. Yeah,
And that's where the existing fence is there. So we're pushing closer this way.
sorry, just quickly again, this is the chain link fence, I see. Okay.
Correct, yep.
So are we saying no trees?
Well, there's actually.
No, on our
Are
property,
we
there's
not
trees
sure?
here. There's trees here.
No, no,
between
no.
you and the
Are
highway.
we saying we're not cutting trees? Or are we saying we're not sure? I don't care what the answer is. You know which
We're
one
not
it is.
cutting trees back here because this is all that,
It's all part of the outfield.
it's all the big stones that are in the back of that hill.
We'll be cutting some trees, some.
Okay.
Well, but I'm just saying right there, you have a lot of stone.
I'm just saying for the fans at home.
Oh, for
right?
the fans at
You know,
home,
I
yes,
do want,
It goes
I
pretty
understand
much
that.
right into.
it does.
Yep.
Actually,
Right.
I'll take some pictures of that.
Okay, so. Okay, that's good to know. So. All right, what else?
So logistically, I guess you probably, I would assume you're gonna probably have crossing people at these entrances.
Yeah.
If I'm a third grader, I'm coming down the hill
No.
and sneaking in that way.
Oh, right, yeah, to make sure they don't think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, we'll have some of that.
And that, that becomes a grounded cut through.
Well,
Oh,
that,
yeah, I see. what you're saying.
that's-
Makes its own path.
Yeah.
that's a good point because you currently have a crossing person.
Looks like we're off the hook. My guess is the computer went dead.
I'll reach out to Michelle, see if they can hook back on.
Hi, sorry, we lost you. We're back. All right.
We didn't think you liked us anymore.
No, it's Michelle's fault. Hey, Michelle.
It is cheaper.
Nice, nice try.
This is the typical cross section. You get a ½ inch of the colorized surface. Depending on the fall height, you can go down to 3.5 inches or up to 5 inches. So a fall height of 3.5 inches total? No, just of this section. So it's like 4 inches, 4 inches thick, plus base stone, plus drainage. Plus.
Depending on the height of where the tallest piece of your equipment, the tallest point where a kid can fall.
You can't tell on this, but you know, even when it's 3 to 3.5 inches thick,
It's spongy.
when you walk on it, it's spongy.
Oh, yeah. Does water drain through that?
Drains right through.
Just goes right through, that's cool.
It's a very, very porous surface.
Very fair.
Which is great because you can send kids out to play almost immediately after rain.
Oh, really? Good.
Yeah, it goes right through and it, it allows you to get right out there and play. in these surfaces.
Are there, I was thinking about wear and tear, and Joe, you know, sort of how you, but like, we've had some real wearing issues or wearing out issues at West Parish. Can you reinforce the other materials at certain spots, like at the bottom, the bottom of the ladder, the bottom of the ladder into the slide? Or is that just the exact place you do want the spongy stuff?
Well, you do want it to be spongy, but our experience with this is with very little maintenance, it'll last 15 years. I mean, their warranty is generally 8 years, but we've seen them last.
Do we think this is a different material than the West Parish?
No, the problem with the West Parish is they're catching the edges with the plow.
Right.
And so what Bill's group has done recently is to add like a granite curbing around the edges. So and then sometimes we even like flag those edges so that the plow isn't catching the edges anymore.
Got it. Okay, so that's a remedy from what we learned at West Parish.
So yeah, and that, it might be equipment too, like the type of equipment that you use, right, versus instead of a plow, maybe you're using like a sweeper,
Okay.
right? But we can go through all of that, but it is important, because you want it to stay in good shape from a safety perspective.
Yeah.
So the other thing is that if West Parish needs to be repaired, it can be repaired. So you can, go back a certain distance, cut it out, and they can repair it.
It's all Ford, the Ford.
Trowel.
Yeah, they actually are like,
Oh, it comes in wet, that's cool.
yeah.
So let's back up. What do we need to accomplish today? Is it just about getting an overview of all, because there are a lot of areas here we have to deal with at some point, right? What do we want to accomplish today?
My goal, and Joe and I talked about this, is to get an understanding of what's happening out front, so those rocks come into play there. And I really want a determination about where the fencing is going to be located, so that we can have that conversation, with some articulation the next time it comes up, where these gates are going to be. And then after that, whatever you need to know to make sure that you're staying on schedule with our specs and drawings.
Let's just continue to run around.
There are other things, if you-
Just keep on running around, then we can talk about what time is it? We got an hour.
Mhm.
So this is typically the painted surface. You touch it, it's got a surface to it. So it's sticky, and not sticky, but it's abrasive. Comes in a lot of colors, depending on what company you get. Then they come with stencils, you can paint games, paint maps, paint whatever you really want to. And we can work with you on the design, whatever maintenance you need. You do need to reapply every once in a while because of the plows. They're gonna scrape it up. There's gonna be more marks.
Any sense of what once in a while means?
Probably once every 3 to 4 years, depending on what you want. If you want to reapply it for a game, or if you want to change it around.
Is this proprietary product?
Well, there's other companies.
Okay, I just want to,
It's
okay.
typically it's used for tennis courts, right?
So that's the paint, you would paint like the design in the center of the bus lane.
For this
That
area,
area.
and as
the
we move to
games,
the back, it's this area.
Those areas.
Basketball courts.
Hopscotch,
Hopscotch,
foursquare,
foursquare.
chessboard, everything
Cool.
like that.
So as you're going back, this wall is a monumental. You can get it in granite finishes, limestone finishes, color all the way through, it's stained. So that's 4 foot height with a fence on top, black chain link. Gauge that we're using, but it's the typical look of it.
Oh, it's not the gauge.
It's not this
The
gauge.
gauge is a more plastic gauge.
It's more 2 inches
Yep.
versus 3/4. Going back here, this is the main playground area. So K through 2, or I'm sorry, 1 through 2, 3 through 5, swing set. I'm not exactly sure how it's gonna play out. This is the same surface back here. This surface is this one. It's called recess run or grass. So recess run kind of looks like AstroTurf, right?
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of thatch mixed into it, and there is a little bit of infill. Their recommendation is to come back once a year and do a little infill on it, brush it in.
What's that, the black?
It's not the black stuff, it's sand.
Sand, yeah.
Sand, okay.
So, and that'll make it stick up.
Yeah.
There's another version that looks more grassy, you can see.
Yeah.
So, depends on,
It's something that doesn't have, it's taller than that.
yep, you can get smaller.
So same version, but not as tall.
This is a
looks more
1.75. This is 1.5. And these will
Sorry,
go
what's that again?
1.75. This is 1.5. This is what they usually recommend when I've been talking to the manufacturers. This will go on a pad. Okay, to make sure that the fall heights are not fall heights, but everybody's head protected for the hip and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
To repel blood.
To repel blood.
How is the size, how's that field size in terms of, sort of city league sports?
I'd have to double check, but I think I sized it for a U6,
6.
7.
That's really.
It's like a half size.
Yeah, little ones.
Yeah.
So,
Half size soccer field.
Will
Okay.
it get used outside of school in terms of like organized team sports or not?
Probably not at the older levels, maybe.
No.
maybe they could put in a little K teams could come and play there.
There's a
You
U6.
know more about soccer.
There is some U6.
I'll
No,
have to
okay,
double.
the reason I'm asking that is, one of the purposes is, weekend youth sports, which may not be, I feel like that's probably better. If it's really primarily school and and then there's this family plan on the weekend, and I think you have some flexibility.
Yeah.
So
Because that's more realistic.
Sure it does, yeah.
Is there a cost difference?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they're about the same. Thing is, we have to have 3 different manufacturers. So
Right.
what is it, Shaw?
These are both Shaw though, right?
These are both shot.
Yeah, there's another manufacturer that we're talking with that has something similar as well.
Okay.
So on the infill, you said that, there's some infill in there and, it has to be done like once a year, whatever, but I mean, if it's getting, really heavy use, I mean, does that infill need to be buffed out a little bit more than that? I'm just thinking.
No, because really what our understanding is that the infill is really put in there so that the turf doesn't blow away. Just to keep it at.
This turf doesn't roll away?
Pardon me?
Which-
Well, let's just get wind, just in case wind gets underneath it against the pucker. So that's why this would have some infill. in it.
It's not glued down, or it is glued.
It's not glued down. They don't recommend gluing it down. They used to glue it down, but they've had problems gluing down the turf to the fan. So they don't glue it down anymore. They put it in.
They glue around the edge.
I was gonna say, fasten on the edges.
So do these guys need a machine or anything for that, or is
My
that?
understanding is they
No
just
choice.
broom it in. If you want to maintain it for yourself, you can just have a little broom, but
Yeah, we have a groomer with little stadium anyway, so we could, yeah.
Okay, so you've got that here.
So the idea though is that we would use a shorter nap. So it would be more broom like.
So this is what you're leaning towards, is this one, rather than that?
I like that one.
It's up to you guys. I mean, they're both recessed appropriate, right? This one says recess, but I mean, you can use this. They're both
That was
residential
more real.
properties.
So those ball sports, soccer, stuff like that, does it matter? I mean, it's not rolling as well on that as it is on that, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, but it's a 20-minute recess.
So these are just
Cup up there.
2 versions of it. There's
Yeah.
probably
Probably
15
thousands of
versions.
others.
And they're all, how they drain, they're porous, so you kind of see it, there's holes.
Yeah.
So they're punched, so everything drains through. So very, very similar to this.
So again, you're going out right after the rain. There's no mud puddles, there's
No
no,
mud puddles, no downtime.
and the snow is going through pretty quickly too,
What
right?
about the infill?
What about the?
I mean, the black things, get on kids, it's not electricity, get on kids' pants, but is this sand going on?
No, the sand is way down and it's not as thick as like you'll see the pellets coming.
Right,
out
right.
Right to the turf. You won't even know that the sand is there.
I mean, after rain, you make it a little transfer, but
Nothing.
It's real maintenance free product.
No, there's not.
I don't know how you plow it. I know
Which one?
for this,
Turf?
I know how you plow large athletic fields, but
You'd have to do the
You'd
same
have to-
thing. You'd have to
I don't know
have
if you can get a truck on there to plow it.
Put a pipe underneath the bucket. To get it plowed, and that's-
So that's something we just want to know from Joe, Joe to the other Joe. We have typically. Just to make sure we understand, from the guy from Josh,
Yeah.
what his recommendation is for winter situation, right? And they can still use it. And so that this Joe knows what he has to do in order to facilitate that for this particular type of turf, which is different than what we have.
We have an access issue though. Plowing.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, but I mean, you could have a small machine, like if you went
True.
in there with a skid steer, right, with something on it. What's your machine right now?
Which I would not go on there with the skid steer. That will tear it up.
Yeah, or Kubota or whatever.
Yeah. Anything that narrow wheelbase. It'd almost be a small tractor, I would say. Almost like it's next up residential would be.
So we just need to make sure that we have a gate in there somewhere that's going to allow for that.
Yeah. It's a good idea to have a gate there anyways.
So
For an ambulance.
Yeah, that's us.
Well, I
As
mean,
we-
that's not fully,
as we move forward, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But as we move forward, bollards all the way around. Bollards all the way around for protection. We can space those out as necessary. Fencing wise, there's a 4-foot fence here, 4-foot fence here, here, here. So there's movement through here, not so much movement through here. There's 12-foot height behind the goals. Which
So, I mean,
we can
We could
adjust.
really take one of the bollards and just have it removable.
Yep.
blocking.
Yep.
They're out.
I think that's a great solution.
Or because then you're coming in here or something like that, or coming in, because you're not right, these are this fence here or just on
We
the
can-
corner?
It's here.
Oh, just where the red is.
So there's gates here, there's openings, so we can
Right.
make that opening larger for you to get through.
Right.
But
So
this is probably, you said this is 12 foot, the green is 12 foot?
green is 12 foot, yeah. So concrete nailer all the way around. Granite curbing all the way around in the dark, flush. Okay.
So-
Basketball hoop, there's granite curbing all the way around, vertical granite curbing. When we get into here, these are the entry to the rear main corridor. This is to a stair, this is to the English or the ESL.
Yep.
So.
Extended learning.
Extended learning. So right now, what we have, this is a diagram for you guys, but right now what we have is bike racks here. We have 9 bike racks total, 6 back here, but we know that you guys want more planters. So we can do 2 areas of planters, we can do 1 area planter, or we can find another area of planters. That's just up for discussion.
And are these planters here in the front too?
These are planters here on the front, and I have cedar.
You can take a look at the ones that went there.
Those are cedar, yeah.
These are all concrete.
All concrete, yep, yep. So that's a discussion too. You can't salt concrete for the first year. So this whole area, you can salt because it's unit paver. Do you want that same condition back here? That's something we should know, we should decide today or in the next day or 2.
So I was at West Parish today, I walked the concrete, and there's no spalling. It really looks good.
Was that hard for you to take care of that first year?
No. It's also a factor, like we were talking about, right? You get a lot of snow.
It was
you had
that,
to
yeah,
salt or
that
not.
winter. It was a mild winter.
Yeah.
When was it poured? That was it poured in the spring.
I remember you and I going there looking at colors for the,
Looks really,
so I'm feeling like it was poured like in the late spring.
so it had, maybe
It had some
8 or
curing
9
time.
months to cure before it actually snowed.
Yeah.
Joe, we should talk about the bollards around the playground area. We were talking about the distance between the bollards.
Mm-hmm.
And, initially we had the bollards around so that the snowplows could see the bollards and they could see the snowplow. And, right now the place is maybe 6 feet on center or 8 feet on center.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to keep apart and going into the area, and really have them a little bit closer together, but we're wondering if we need to worry about cars being in that area. Because we're only there to drop off and pick up.
They're only there at the pickup.
only they're a pickup, so
Yeah.
kids will not be out on the playground.
That's correct.
But the thing is like, there's a lot
No,
of
they won't
families
be-
that would go, get their kids and go right to the playground right after school. So you could still have kind of both, you know? I want them, I want it, no cars can go on. I want the bollards close.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think you want people coming around that driveway while there's kids in the middle of that park.
I'm not, yes, but that could happen.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
It's not the intended condition, but you can't control it all the time. And for those times where it's not controlled and something bad could happen, this way we're protected.
Yeah, because we'll have kids that are just walking home, old enough to walk home by themselves,
Mhm.
and they might run out there, whatever. You know, we'll try and watch it, but yeah,
But operationally, you're bringing everybody inside the building before anybody releases, right?
yeah.
Now you're releasing bus students, they're off the site. Now you're putting kids in the cars, they're off the site. Now you're letting walkers go, and they're the ones that can go to the backyard because there isn't a car on the site.
Yeah, but then you're asking the walkers to stay there for like a half an hour,
Yes.
45 minutes. Not gonna
So
happen.
I think this is for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if there's gonna be weekend, let's
6 foot on center.
people on it, yeah.
They
I
don't
agree.
need to be 6 foot on center. It's
Tuck
based
in.
off of how the car enters in. So
Yeah, so.
if it's here and it comes in, they don't, it's whatever clear is 6 feet.
Yeah, however you can squeeze a
So
car through.
I mean, listen, this is one of the 4 things that is, you know, the biggest concern of the loudest people.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean we need to build the whole thing because of loud people, and it's a legitimate concern.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
I
not safe.
agree.
So yes, and we need them close enough together, so it's an easy explanation of why they're that far apart. Okay?
And then going back to your discussion about where they are they in front of the curb, the granite curb, or
They're on the playground side.
they're on the playground side of the granite curb? So the plow is gonna hit the granite curb because it sees where the bollard is and not catch the edge of the,
Well, it's the center line of the bollard itself, or the outside edge is about 6 inches off the curb. So if they use that as a guide, they're gonna be.
then they're
scraping
scraping up the,
We could put it closer, but there's gonna be a little weird, like, half-inch area
Transition, right.
that they may have some sort of minimum that they want the rubber people to make sure that it bonds.
The guy that'll know.
We should look at that, so maybe what we do is we take the curb and move it more inward, so it's polished on the outside.
or make it
my-
wider and the bollard sits on top of it. So if
Because
it-
my concern is, day 3 of a storm.
Yep.
They're not thinking about that 6 inches. They're gonna be tearing up the edge of that rubber.
that's what I'm
And,
thinking.
they're looking for that landmark, bollards, the end of the playground. They won't know the grants.
So are you saying that the bollards are on the plow side?
Should be on
Mhm.
should be almost on
On
the
the road side.
outer roadside.
They're as close to the edge of the curve as we get. Okay?
But
So
the
you-
problem is the curb's flat.
Right.
And it's flush, so it's not even if you rub it coming up against the curb.
So I think they should be on the roadside, and then the curb gives you that extra protection.
You know what, we should look at, maybe what we do is we pour a 2-foot wide concrete flush that's 18 inches down, and that operates as the curb. And it's the place that the bollards come out
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like, the bollards could sit right on that curb piece.
on the concrete.
Yep,
That's all.
that would be
We
nice.
already kind of
We
have
already
that.
kind of have it there.
Yeah,
at both ends, so it could be, we could just tie it all together.
I think that's a nice detail, and I think that would work really well.
So instead of it being granite, but you just have like a forked curb or whatever.
Exactly.
right?
A concrete curb.
Then all your bollards could be.
Yep,
So it would just come right out of there.
yep,
We did it on the asphalt side, then you've got to tamp the asphalt when it just doesn't.
right.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And it's
I like
an
that detail.
exterior that's not gonna get beat up like an exterior.
Okay, as we move out, gate, this is
Right.
the loading area, dumpsters, emergency generator, transformer, and that's basically back of house stuff. Bollards all along here, that's just painted, galvanized, regular metal bollards with concrete fill. We usually just do them straight silver, but we can paint them in field black, blue, green, whatever you want to do, really. There's been discussion of a metal panel fence. This, I don't know if it still is a brick wall or not, Bryce. But this needs to be figured out in terms of how do we screen this area? How do we screen this area when someone comes around and sees the back?
Right, yes, your back of house is not really hidden, so.
Right.
Right, and then my question was, see where the trailer truck is?
Yep.
Like, having the trailer truck, if you look at the turning radius, it comes down, comes into the donut and then backs up, and I'm just afraid that it's gonna hit the end of this fence.
It's gonna need something.
Right, so if you shorten that fence a little bit, it gives it a little bit more room to get itself in and around.
So you're saying back towards.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's just something we need to talk about,
Right.
what these things look like, because there are different opinions. But we'll
Right.
figure that out and get back and make sure everything works out. It's pretty generous for them to come in and back up. I mean, that's a lot of space to screw up.
Have you seen some of these drivers?
I haven't, but
And what's your biggest size truck that's delivering?
I mean, here, obviously,
Right,
not very big at all, so, I mean, we can,
and what about at vets right now?
same thing. There's no, I don't think, you're not getting a 53-footer in there.
So is it reasonable to think that we wouldn't
Continue
change,
that way, right?
we wouldn't change size? So we're being, yeah, we're being extra conservative with that truck
Right,
right there. Okay.
Is there opportunity to actually have a change of course of mind where we can bring larger trucks in then?
Yeah, I think what they've drawn will allow for that, being best case scenario, so. I mean, that option still does exist with this current layout.
I think we're being conservative. And that we can just talk about like Joe said, the length of that fence. Do we want to fence in the front of the dumpsters where you have the recycled dumpsters there? And is 2 enough? Like, yeah, does that fence go across there so that you're only opening it up for deliveries and for trash pickup?
I'll tell you, that's a pretty large area for a gate. I mean,
Yeah,
those-
logistically, that would be a nice,
That's like
that
a-
would be
Okay.
a propped opening, it would never be closed, just the volume that comes in and out.
Okay,
So Bryce had talked about, keeping it just to here, having a gate here and having a gate here, or I don't think the gate is wrong.
okay. And is 2 dumpsters enough?
I would say probably not. I'm guessing we'll probably be looking at 3, 1 trash, and 3 recycle.
3 trash and 3 recycle?
No, 1 trash, and probably 2 recycle.
Okay,
But I can look at what we have.
and these guys will need, are they throw it over the top or
Yeah.
they lift it from the sides?
I want to say they are, I think recycle is front load, trash is rear.
Okay,
but-
so
but either
it's
way,
front,
it's- yeah,
okay,
it's
it's
front-
not a
it's front or
side,
rear,
load,
it's
it's
not a
not,
side.
okay. All right, that works.
And the other thing is if we're jammed on space, we can just up the frequency. Right now, I think
Yep.
we pick 3 times a week, so if the volume's there, we only pick 2, then we go, more often.
There's only room for 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we'd be hard pressed to find a third location
Depending
for
on
a
the
third.
size, I don't know what size they are. I think they're probably 7 by 7.
The dock part? We're not.
It's not a dock,
It's not a dock. No dock.
no dock. Do we need a lift? I know that at West Parish, didn't we put in an exterior lift,
No.
exterior
no, there's
lift?
no
We didn't
there.
do that? Maybe we talked about it at one point? Okay.
Would you be okay with rollouts? I mean, I don't know if this room is connected. Can you just roll it out for them to come in and pick it up and move?
What's that?
Oh, the trash?
Dumpster?
Oh.
It's a lot of trash.
Yeah, I think we're better off with just
Most of the time the truck isn't there, so they're,
the 10 or 12-year
yeah.
dumpster.
All right, well, moving around side, actually, I want to come back to this area. These are trench drains. We have 2 trench drains here and here. And what that does is just collects all of the water before it goes onto the field. It can be decorative, something like that, or they can just be very industrial, where it's just slits.
I had the black slit one here before, and I thought it was, I thought it looked fine. This,
They're just ductile iron.
More cost effective.
yeah, and I thought it was just, it looked just fine to me.
So as we go around, obviously parking, whatever looks like parking is parking. This is your second wall back here.
That's your tall one, right?
At the highest, it's 7 feet. Right there, 7.5 feet.
So you won't see it from the parking lot.
No, you won't see it. There's a fence along in it, along that side, similar to back here. 4-foot height chain link fence, black, blue, not blue, black, brown, and green. Or
There's a
silver.
guardrail there as well.
And there's a guardrail. Vehicular
Is that
guardrail.
wood?
Wood.
You okay with that?
So you know, like the existing drive up the side of that's on the right. There's that big drop where all the bamboo's growing on the other. That is what's gonna be. Oh, that's here.
That's where your 7-foot wall is.
Okay, so it's gonna be a wall just
No, down.
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 Yeah, so
Okay.
at the highest, it'll be 7 feet tall, so the wall will be here,
Okay,
and then there's probably 6 or 8 feet of space between, and then there'll be a fence and a guardrail. We're
okay.
planting trees along that edge as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, that'll be nice. All right. Just trying to figure out like where the old building sits.
So on the.
You can see your
front side of
building
that,
underneath. It's in the
is there
gray.
Anything that we're doing
Oh,
there?
okay.
See that?
There it is.
Yep,
Okay, so this.
that's your building as it exists right now.
Okay.
What is, but are we putting that analyzed, dressed stone on there like we did with the other stuff? And if we're doing that, we don't need to do it.
This stuff.
Okay, so it's gonna be more like a ready rock?
Yeah,
Ready rock.
Okay, so if it's a ready rock, you probably wanna go some type of planting on that side, right? Just
For the neighbors.
to take the edge off a little bit, right? It's a 7-foot high wall. And even if it's just like putting some ivy on the front of it or something like that, that creeps up, you know? 'Cause it'll be a big wall.
All right,
What happens in this bowl right here, this grass?
that's retention area.
so that's like the center of West Parish, where you have the bio retention area, and there's like rocks and things in there, and
So like that started out a little rough, but you guys did a really nice job when you came back and like kept it up a little bit more. Like last time I looked at it, it looked great, but it'd be very similar.
All right, fencing. I'll just go through heights and what they are material wise. This is an 8-foot chain link fence, similar to what you have, all the way along.
Yeah.
And then at some point right here, it ties into the existing comes back out. You can kind of see X.
And we're leaving that all alone, right?
You're leaving that all alone. 4-foot height, all the way around. That's a gate. 4-foot height. So that encloses this whole area. Okay. Depending on what we decide for gates, they could be chain link, they could be decorative. We can talk about that.
But this gate would only be open where emergency vehicles had to get around, right?
Or an event.
Or an event, that's true. Okay.
Okay. So chain link fence, we talked about that. 4-foot height chain link fence is here. 12-foot
We're
height
talking
there.
about the gates.
4-foot height here.
These got the
4-foot
gates.
height here. And then,
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
I think that's it for chain link fence. Guardrails, we talked about guardrails back here. This is a guardrail right here.
We have fence down at the bottom of the, down by the bus drop off there on the bottom.
So that's what we need to talk about. Currently, this whole area where kids are playing, kindergartners or K-1 or whatever it's going to be,
K-1.
this is unrestricted. So do you want it similar to back here where it's gated and fenced off? You know, we can carry this fence across and then start to feather it in, put a nice fence. We talked about this string leaf gate last time. Whether that's something you put here, give it a nice decorative feel, put it back here, or, maybe that's just chain link, but
Yeah, I think the
What we
back
do
two would be
have-
chain link.
we probably should have a barrier gate at this point
Uh-huh.
to make sure people don't drive down in and then have to back up. Because once they get down to this point, if you put a gate here, they're not. gonna be able to get
Right.
through. So that's just you need to decide how restricted this area needs to be to make sure kids aren't running off, or are there teachers going to be there making sure kids aren't running off?
It needs to be fenced because it's the younger kids.
Correct. So I was just gonna say, Amy and I just glanced at her, but you definitely have to have a fence around that.
You don't need to have a fence around that.
Well, to keep, something to keep them from run, if they were to get away and get up onto the website.
No.
Not around this area, but
Yeah.
enclosed somewhere, yeah. So we can wrangle.
So
these gates, can you make them computerized so we can just press them?
Yeah, like, do the gates open on like a,
Or he can be had.
like a Bluetooth on the wall?
Automatic gates or.
We can always
So
deal with
when I
that.
forget to shut them and.
We can live that fantasy until we get to like. the
And then
price
I'll
point.
get cut, yeah.
Yeah.
So like when you were talking, Joe, we were talking earlier, which is a little different than right now. If this is gonna be like some type of like seed mix, meadow grass, whatever, right? So if we kept that gate and just kind of kept it low here along this rather than coming kind of up and down,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking because from a maintenance perspective, if you had, like you were saying, maybe 5-6 feet or whatever it is between the bituminous and this, that gives a little green space, right? You can maintain that, but then you don't have to maintain all of this. Right, less for you to have to maintain.
Yes, I would think if you want at least one mower.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, exactly. And then
Probably
here, so this one right here, this gate, I understand, we talked about this too, right? So I understand exactly what you're saying, but my thought is like, for all intents and purposes, that feels to me like it's always gonna be in the open position. This one, and so then, right, if you have this gate here, and that becomes your primary gate, right, both in terms of like closing this area off. Maybe do you live with, the car that goes and says, sees this gate closed and then has to back up? I mean, it's not that huge a deal, and I don't think it's gonna be a common occurrence. And I'm just thinking this gate here, I'm not a believer that it's really gonna work. And two, I think it's gonna be ugly at the front of the building.
I like that, I like what Brad's saying too. I don't think it's that big, and if it's gonna be wide enough for buses, it shouldn't be a big deal to turn.
I mean, I sort of hate to say it, but if someone's out there making sure the kids go across there, safe. Let's put a cone to-
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Done.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking like
And then when the buses come, you take the cones and move them.
Like a cones, like a gates.
so this one here, right, this gate, I agree with. And then now you've got the whole area essentially enclosed, so if you have a runner, you can stop them, right, they're in. But this area right here, just like we were talking before, is very awkward, like from a gate control standpoint.
You talk about a runner, we spent close to 20,000 in West Parish after we opened up because of the runners.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Enclosing the whole play yard.
So
So I think
essentially
that's
now is the time to.
Right.
A lot cheaper to do.
This takes care of the runner situation. I feel like it's like we're talking about Blade Runner. Or something
Yeah.
like that. But this here, right, is still an opportunity for somebody to get out and, unless we put a hard gate there, but then it just, like I said, it's an awkward location. I don't know exactly the best way to try and manage it, because if we put a gate there, it doesn't get used, there's no sense of putting a gate there. But then how do you control as a practical matter? It would have to certainly be monitored, right, if that's open, because that would be the escape path.
That would be the way to go.
So if you look where.
I feel like that could be monitored.
Look where behind Brad
I
is,
think we could monitor that, Brad.
that connection right there, right there. Right there.
Yeah, I think we would just have to monitor it. And if it's one area, it's fine, we can do it. Don't you think?
You put a gate there. It's gonna look-
Yeah.
It's awkward.
It's a tough spot. You know, we could, right? But it would be, I think, like I said, what we were saying. Yeah. And my bet is what we end up doing is not using it, and then we just spend money on something.
Yeah.
So does this gate need to be here?
So that was my next
So do
question.
we just
If you
continue
move,
it on?
if you move that, the first question I have actually is how far around the building to the right there do you want these little kindergarten kids to be able to run? Because they're outside of your purview. If you're standing out here
They
monitoring.
shouldn't go past that corner,
Okay, so
don't
then
you think?
should we be moving that back gate to that corner instead? And I think that's a good answer to
The
that.
back gate is stopping the pickup line.
Keeps
from
the pickup
going
line.
down around
That's
there. We
exactly
need the
that.
gate where it is now.
Yeah,
You could,
Otherwise, the pickup line's gonna.
we're
get
gonna have
into
like
that
three
sidewalk.
parents driving. up around.
so we could have that swing gate that you show in
Right
that
there.
location, the cheap gate, right? In that location, and put a nice gate, which is more solid, right there. Because you need this kind of solid gate to stop the kids, but you only need that kind of gate to stop the cars.
Correct.
Good.
Yes.
So there would be a solid gate there and a solid gate. there.
Yes,
Solid, barrier, solid.
correct.
Is this the example of solid gate?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And what
There's also chain link versions.
What?
We don't have
what
solid.
Joe is showing is the alphabet
They're
style
afraid of
in
kids
the
running.
red there. Yeah.
But we don't, but they
It has
can,
That's
alphabet,
like the way you know, the attack.
yeah,
Why do
it
we
could be
need
the
the solid
alphabet.
You mean here, solid gate here?
Versus just a swing gate.
I think you can get away, Amy, they're wondering, a solid gate here, or could we get away with a swing?
Well,
gate?
don't forget the kids are playing and running in
Solid
the,
gate.
Yeah, I mean, they are gonna be out on that.
Yep.
land.
So then they're gonna be able to run, right, all the way from that. Now we won't have this solid gate at this end, right? So they're gonna be able to run all the way to that solid gate up on the front.
these kids could go outside your
So
curfew. Okay.
conceivably, Amy, you could have. kids
Solid, solid,
running
solid,
all
4
the way
solid
around
gates.
this corner here.
Four solid
But we're
gates.
gonna have that swing gate, it's just a barrier, they're purposely going out. And it's
Those-
gonna be monitored.
This is gonna be, a kid that would run all the way around from that playground would be an outlier
Yeah.
for
and
sure.
This is a visual of the swing gate to stop them, and we are gonna have, you're gonna get that.
Might be like
monitors.
If we have a receipt of it.
And there's a missing link there on the end where this gate is stopping and that fence to the wall. You need to connect that fence.
Right there.
Yeah, so that, yeah,
The kids in the back, right? The kids in the back are gonna be more or less the older kids. Right, whether it's that solid gate or whether it's a swing gate, they wanna get over it,
They're gonna go
they're
over
gonna
it.
get over it.
I think you need the solid gate towards the parking lot, with the swing gate over there.
What do you need the solid one there for? That's our question, I guess.
because it's more in the play area.
More chance, no. I feel like there's more
It's
chance
more-
of them running that way
well,
than the
there's,
other way.
there's more of a hazard there.
Yeah, the
Cars
cars are
parked.
going by.
I
You're
think
gonna
so
have
too.
teachers parking in here. I mean, we do have people coming in during the
Could be
day.
delivery coming in.
Well, I
If
still
they
want
go
the, I
that
still want
way,
the gate.
They're in trouble,
The
then,
solid
you know,
one.
but they're not gonna get far because of the solid gate further down.
Right,
If they get past this one, they can get in trouble much faster because of all of the parking in the.
so, and I agree with you, that like this one needs to keep them safe. That one is just, they're being naughty but they're not leaving the premises
They're not in
because,
danger by
And
going
they
in.
can't get past that song.
Right.
They can't get there anyways.
right,
All
They're
right,
not
so
in danger, they can-
solid,
solid,
swing,
barrier,
yeah,
solid,
yes,
solid.
yes.
Yes,
And
And
then,
then there's an open
yeah,
it's
corridor.
an opening. it's-
Fencing goes like this,
Mhm.
stops, continues along here.
yes,
What's
So
in that
this-
space?
This dimension is the same all the way
The
around.
retaining.
Thank you.
Sorry.
yes, that's a 4-foot wall with is there a fence on top of that wall
There
too?
is fence on
So-
the-
Yes.
So that's like 8 feet tall. They're not leaving that one.
And then through this hill, there's like a 4-foot fence, you said, kind of running in
Yes.
there.
And then
Okay.
they get-
Great. Okay. It's like a
Is there
Starlight
anything
17.
happening down on the lower parking lot at all?
you know,
We have wheel stops or
Actually,
anything?
there's a wall. There's a wall on the edge.
Yeah,
down there as
so-
well, to hold the grade in.
What happened, what's keeping the cars from going? I can't really see it. My eyes, but at that far slope.
All right,
There's
so
need to be a guardrail. there.
back here,
Yeah,
is this
there's
what you're talking
guardrail.
about? there's a vehicular guardrail, but
Okay.
we may have to pivot because it used to be made of this material, but it's only like a foot exposed, so it's going to be a smaller unilock apartment building. retaining
That's
wall.
right next to it. That's the one we just redid. That's the.
No,
That's the
you're
apartment.
correct, Matt. That
Yeah.
is the
Yes,
parking lot
yeah.
that's next to the
Yes, yeah.
apartment.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is the parking lot that's in front of the apartment.
It's right
Correct.
now.
Right.
But you don't want the cars to go on.
No.
Yes. This is school property right there, where that parking lot is.
This here,
That
is
is,
this,
that is school property.
this is where the veterans, when you first pull in?
Yes.
Right.
And that's
the
the
one, yeah,
parking-
the one we just
Okay, so
redid.
this is the parking lot, that's the apartment building. Okay. All right, that makes sense. So this would be parking as well. for-
Yes,
Is that special parking for somebody or just extra?
just extra. Park there, walk up the sidewalk and find your way to the front door.
Okay.
Sorry.
Good stuff.
So what were you saying? You have to pivot there because that is now,
That retaining wall is going to be made out of just like unilock or
Okay.
some sort of smaller stone because it's only a foot exposed. and-
Like this kind of thing?
No,
the next,
I didn't put an image on that.
Oh, okay, smaller though than.
It's just like a small residential
Looks like
retaining wall.
like a Versalock wall.
Yeah, it's a virtual lock.
And the other thing to do is just put big rocks
Or we could put big
I only know
lines.
of railroad ties.
So that's generally it. Obviously, we really didn't talk about playground stuff, but I mean,
yeah, we have to do the
we can do
playground.
that later.
Yeah, because I think once we have our preferred groups for playground, then we'll start talking about it. The next time we meet, could you bring an actual size for these blocks so that people can see what
I
they're?
can certainly try.
So there, so show, actually, when you're talking about those rocks, right? Where are they going again? They're in here?
They're in here, 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 here.
So the rocks.
Yep, and they just kind of.
Are they
just kinda-
cemented in?
And so what we're gonna end up
No.
doing is, if the rocks are through, we're gonna have them dig down about 8 inches or more.
Okay.
Set the
Lock
rock
them
up,
right in.
and lock it
Okay, so what's around the rock then is like open ground?
in. So
Dirt.
what we'll do is we'll fill them with stone dust,
Okay.
so it'll be highly compacted.
Oh, okay.
Orange is the larger stones. Blue circles are much larger boulders.
Okay. Oh, I see. So that's the look. I get it. That's cool. That looks
So
beautiful.
really what we're trying to get is a material change, a texture change.
Yeah.
An area that people wouldn't necessarily walk on.
Uh-huh.
You know, rather than taking the pavement all the way to the building.
Yeah,
You
great.
Really don't need all that.
I think that'll look pretty.
So from my standpoint, I think we talked about fencing. We really didn't talk about if we need these. You know, there's a
Oh, yeah.
couple outdoor classrooms. There's one here, amphitheater style. You know, this one could be a little bit more informal. It's just like stumps and a blackboard that kids can sit on, if that's of any interest to you. You know, there's really not, you can't put them really here, planter boxes, because
No.
that gets no sun whatsoever. We talked about potentially back here, but that's in a wetland area. We
I'm gonna
don't know
look
if
into
we can
that for you.
actually Entertain
Yeah.
using that area.
I mean, this is kind of tied into where the, right near the school cafeteria. The outdoor classrooms, this here.
That's the one right there, yep.
That's the one.
We're talking about the garden box.
We're talking about the garden boxes, you know, there's two more, this is what we have right now, the
Okay.
four right here. I've added, what, 6, 9?
How many
Nine
are
here.
at West Parish? Garden boxes.
I think that there's at least.
I want
At
to say
least
10. I think
So we need, absolutely.
I think so.
Well, we'll show.
No, you need 2 for the grade book.
Right,
Because right now
okay,
we have 1 for the grade book.
Right.
So
I
10.
think we're doubling.
doubling
the
it, so,
We need 12.
yeah, 12. She's right. Amy's
So we-
right.
Again.
We have 13.
Amy's right.
So there's 13 then on the plan.
Not all of that.
13.
Oh,
you get
13,
access.
the extra one would be the principal's garden.
They're just not ideal spots because you are walking, this is the main entry from the rear.
Yeah,
So there's gonna be a lot of movement. in that
Yeah, I
So
like it.
while we're looking for where the optimal placement of those is there any particular like grouping? Is it twosies, threesies, or foursies?
What do you mean?
Two.
Twos?
Twos.
Two,
So
'cause you're gonna
so
do
you
a
want them
grade
like,
level has
at a
two.
minimum, you want to have at least two together. So when
Yeah.
we look at
So we can
locating
spread
them,
around.
we can
Yes.
spread them
Yeah.
out a little bit,
Yeah.
but they need to be in twos.
But like the first grade will have two boxes. They
Yeah.
should be next to each other.
Yeah.
Fifth grade will have two
So
boxes.
what
Nice,
about-
good
Oh,
job.
good guy.
What about the front area? How many do they need?
KN1, we need
Lots of twos.
I think you just need
2 and 2.
12 and in combinations of,
Two.
even combinations, like two,
Two or
four.
four, but
Yeah.
minimum two.
Right. Correct.
So there's an extra one out front. for the principal.
Sure.
You can do that too.
Principal's
When
box.
you're
When I'm
opening the
out,
gate. you
when I'm
can
out dealing
drive
with the
right-
gates all day long and the cones. And then watching this area. here.
So,
I'm not
really,
even gonna be in the building.
when you look at the plan,
I think that's our
plan.
You don't get it. She can have,
when you look at the
Yeah.
plan, if we can't put the
it's my
boxes
retirement.
where the wetland
Give
is,
you
Mhm.
Get
Throw
all
that
the
big
cars.
giant
according to Rich,
brush.
we weren't able to, the only place. to put it back there.
Is where you have them right now?
There's no other real estate.
Yeah.
I mean, you could,
I think we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Definitely.
Unless you get a bulldozer out there.
Oh, yeah. A little scooch here, a little scooch there.
Everywhere.
Okay, one other thing I'd just like to talk about while we're on the landscape site. Now, things that came up a while back, a long time ago. I think, I don't know whether that was you, Joe, and or Mike, but we looked at this and we said, the site's very, very tight. Right, we're trying to balance out, how do we optimize for parking, get as many parking spots, right, still get the school building, make sure we have reasonable amount of play area, and all of those types of things. So I think at that point, we talked about the snow itself is going to be excellent, right, it's going to be drop off site. And so I just want to make sure, right, that in fact that continues to be the case, because as you can tell, right, there's not a lot of snow storage on the site. It's a hard fact of life. Again, we tried to get as many parking spots on there with everything else. So I want to make sure that that's copacetic, that we still are doing that, so that when we have, when we have additional meetings and stuff like that, and I want to speak out of school, I'd like to be able to go and say, yes, that's, we've had that discussion with DPW, in that school, or if we need to think about something else, then we need to think about something else.
But they still allow all the off-street control for parking there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It'll
that's,
remain, that'll be full.
So do you plow before you have to plow after they leave, right?
Yeah, so we plow it throughout the storm, but, both of these lots,
Yeah.
there are cars in them right up until, later, it seemed like, yeah.
There's
10
some
minutes before we
after,
open.
yeah.
So I think what'll happen here is this will become a catchment area, so snow will get plowed there, probably here, maybe here, and then once we get to that point, then we'll load out for these spots.
Mhm.
But it's just the toughest thing for us to put the parking ban on. We have to release the ban 2 hours before we open the schools to give us that small window to get everything cleared out. Unfortunately, they don't always adhere to the end time of the ban. Never. So we're just, I see it. It's,
Yeah.
the cars are in here until noon time, and then they, roll out of bed and clear the car out, and then off they go. But, he's lost 2 parking spots.
But and then they clear the car off and,
Right.
and mess up the parking lot.
Yeah.
The parking spaces.
I don't see that changing. But
No.
I think that's.
we'll have more room for people.
Right.
Do you have the ability to get it outside if you need to, get that big of a storm?
Well, I mean, it's a cost, the problem is we don't have 2 sets of contractors. It's 1 set of contractors that do everything. We go from plowing snow to removing snow. So we just we shift gears and move people into different equipment.
So you kind of stage it and
Yeah.
come back.
So just what I'm hearing is, yes, everybody understands, right, that we're gonna have to go and take this offsite. The practical matter, what ends up happening is, they're gonna have to do the best that they can. They're gonna find certain
Yeah,
locations
just to
here, and
And that's gonna cannibalize some of your parking spots for a while until they're able to get back to
Right.
bucket it off. and go. So there's an acknowledgement that you guys understand that, you know, it happens maybe 5, 6 times a year, probably, whatever it is. Except for that winter, that, you know, certain
Right.
circumstances, you're gonna be down and you'll be back to catch up.
Yep.
Okay.
Is there another mental storage? I know that the fire access is there, but, you know, if you're out on the bus area, you could store it over the back there until you can bring it.
Yeah, same thing. So we'd have to find a location on that half of the site as well.
Yeah. Can I ask a stupid question? Could you ever dump the snow in that?
No.
It's not a stupid question. It's a question for
It's
you.
a really logical question.
Well,
You can't just, I just figured make a giant
Well,
mountain
and
of
that's
snow.
why I asked earlier, because it looks perfect.
Yeah.
I knew what the answer was.
Yeah.
What's that hole for? Get it in the water.
It's for snow.
You can put snow there.
Yeah.
Should we make a snow ball?
Type of water.
And it's bio, you know, cleaning everything before it seeps into the earth, but don't put the snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's terrific. Any other landscape site questions? Anybody has?
I
Um,
only have one request, no ground fencing, please.
No brown.
No
Can't-
ground king.
Yeah, can't get material. Nobody stocks it. And when I had to do that, you know, that little bit over at West Parish, it was a nightmare getting it.
That's Bill Brown's favorite color, fencing. I have a question about your handicap transition pieces. I think that was on your piece. Do you have a preference for those?
We've gone over to board in place in
Board in place and maroon. Got it?
So those, yeah, we're doing, board in place, but they're removable too. so
Right,
I think
yeah,
we can-
yeah.
We want that everywhere. How I've done it is the blue is with the maroons. We're gonna be knocking those, they're only got some.
No, we only do caps in place whenever we have a long run with drop off.
What are these are great. Tackle.
So everything would be except for this, that purpose. So that would be your or whatever one is select.
So what blue?
Blue and orange will be maroon.
Okay.
Plus, it's
Yeah.
element. And then the one will be that. So for unit pavers, we talked about promenade 24 something like that.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
are, did you see that?
Everybody seemed to like that, Joe. Did you see that?
Do we want that?
Yeah.
Paving for unit pavers in the rear,
Yeah.
or we keep that
Yeah.
as concrete?
Say that again?
I have no problem staying concrete.
Orange is what we are right now carrying for unit paving. Do we want to carry any sort of unit paving in the rear? Or are we okay with not salting and clearing for the first year?
Hey, Michelle?
Yeah.
I do have to step away. So I didn't know if you were, I don't know if you had presented any of the exterior update. But
No. We'll probably have to hit that next time.
okay, that's fine. But I do have to step out now.
All right, Bryce, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I think it's a small enough area that I don't mind gambling. That first.
Somebody take that note down, please.
And you can
Let's say, Bryce, we're gonna
These
do
are all
some
good.
fire meeting later.
I'm liking, we're gonna do it
A lot of jobs.
Okay, so
because Ben's not here either, and he had something.
So let's close this meeting.
Are we going, so we're not talking about any of the.
No, we're gonna push that to next time because Bryce has to leave.
Okay. Informal, okay.
Thank you, guys. We're gonna close the meeting, Maria.
Okay, thank you.
We're all set. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care. Thank you.